Next up, we have Nicolas Christiaen with Cashforce.
So hi everyone, my name is Nicolas Christiaen. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Cashforce. Imagine a platform where CFOs can exactly see how much cash they will have available in the future, knowing exactly how much they can invest or they need to borrow, saving them time and money in the process. That is Cashforce. Now, before I start talking about Cashforce, I just want to talk a little bit about cash management in general. Who of you knows why a company goes bankrupt? Right, so everyone is kind of whispering it. Companies go bankrupt because they run out of cash, right? Everyone knows that. Now, since the financial crisis, 49% of companies globally, they have been focusing more and more on working capital and cash management. But still 89% of the treasurers, they make a cash forecast in Excel. And in fact, it's not surprising that 81% of these people, they say that their cash forecast isn't accurate. Now, when it's not accurate, it's actually a waste of time. And they spend a lot of time, believe me. So why is it so difficult to make a good cash forecast? Let's meet John. John is CFO of a plastic manufacturing company. His company generates over 500 million per year over 3 continents. He has about 6 plants across the globe. He has 2 SAP systems running, and each of his entities has 2 or more bank accounts to trade in the different currencies. So in total, he has about 32 bank accounts to manage. Right. John has a lot of questions as a CFO. One of his first questions is, well, my company or one of my plans is running tight on cash. And lately, some vendors came to me and they asked me if I was interested in any vendor discounts. So the question is there, I'm tight on cash. Which vendor discounts can I really take in the future? Second question is on receivables financing. A lot of you know about receivables financing, but the question here for John is, actually, how much can I factor and with which party do I need to work with to make this happen? So John has lots of questions. And actually, to make sure he has the answer to those questions, he needs to make a cash forecast. But that takes about 2.5 man days per week. So it's very time consuming. And why is that? Well, remember, he has different ERP systems. He needs to manually then link the different banking portals together. And then after that, he needs to include some Excel files with insurance, some fixed costs, that's insurance fees, rental fees. And afterwards, he gets in a kind of Excel jungle where he has more questions than answers. And this is where Cashforce comes in. So Cashforce collects from the different ERP systems automatically the data, then connects to each and the different banking portals. So John only needs to monitor and maintain his fixed costs. And that is, well, it's less than a couple of hours per week. So John logs into the platform, and for each of his bank accounts, he knows exactly what the cash position will be in the future, so he knows exactly which cash he has available to him. Now, without doing anything just yet, he saved already 2 man days, so about 50K per year. Then, to answer his first question on vendor discounts, he needs to be able to see what his cash buffer is. So the system calculates your cash buffer will be 1.5 million and selects the right invoices that he needs to pay, and he gets a 3% discount. So again, he saves about 45K. Now, to answer his second question on receivables financing, he can access our unique marketplace of different financing solutions. And from this marketplace, our Cashforce system will actually calculate which is the best option for him in his particular cash situation. So in this case, he gets actually an 80K receivables financing at 3.84%. So he doesn't need to go to a bank to borrow a larger sum for maybe a smaller discount, but he saves money. Again, 12K he saves. So using Cashforce, John actually saved over 100K, of which 50K is recurring. Now, we are very excited about this product, but our clients are too. So one of the global importers of Hyundais worldwide, they actually saved over 40 million in cash flow. So they had an improvement in cash flow of about 40 million. They won the prize for best practice in working capital and cash management. with this, with using Cashforce. Another client, a global logistics player, they saved over 2 man-days just doing the process of cash forecasting more efficient using Cashforce. So, are we the only one thinking about cash flow management and improvement? Well, financial consultants are also around there to make sure your cash flow is better. But that is only a one-time improvement, so it's not sustainable. When looking to ERP, a lot of ERP systems have actually a bolt-on cash management, but they're not targeted towards really building forecasts. Treasury systems, on the other hand, they are very good at connecting to the different banks, but what they lack is simulation and forecasting capabilities. So, Cashforce is a unique solution that does cash forecasting the right way, accurate, quick, and simple. Now, in terms of market, you could argue that we could potentially target towards any company in the world. But we focused our marketing and sales efforts toward 4 specific industries, looking at mid-sized companies between 50 million and 5 billion in revenues. So, what's the business model? So, we sell subscriptions. We sell them either in the cloud or on-premise. And we sell them for about 15 to 60K, and we're up and running in about 1 to 20 days. We sell directly to CFOs, but most of our sales are coming now via our channel partners. So, who's the team behind this? We are 2 co-founders, we have a sales team, and we have also a development team trying to make this happen. And we're still hiring, as you see. Now, what's our ambition? Last year, we started off with selling our product, and we reached to about 109 CFOs, financial professionals that currently use our platform. Now, we want to, of course, expand that, double that, and make sure that in 2017 we have over 1,800 users on the platform, generating about 5 million in revenues. Now, to get this going, in the first couple of months, we are now seeking for seed or Series A funding of about $1.5 million. So Cashforce, if you know any CFO that really cares about his financial health, we're really interested to talk to them. We're Cashforce, and we make organizations cash lean. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much. Any questions?
So from the forecasting perspective, it seems like the main challenge in the sort of scenario you had earlier would be the interest rate, not the interest rates rather, so the exchange rates, which you can't forecast. How do you get around that?
Well, I think the main question is a little bit broader than only exchange rates. So there's the question of bringing all the systems data together, right? Making sense of projecting bringing all the data together from those ERP systems, the banking portals, and making sure you contribute as well for fixed cost. And then, of course, you have those simulations you can do on exchange rates, but the assumptions that you make are very important. So what we do in our model is you can make different assumptions and you can simulate based on those assumptions. Now, the difficulty in forecasting is typically that your forecast accuracy is nowhere near 100%. It will never be. But what we do is we then compare the actuals to the cash forecast, and we make actually in the future that cash forecast better. But projecting the interest rates and exchange rates, yeah, of course, that's not the issue we try to tackle, and it's never going to be tackled.
Okay, so you do some sort of auto correlation if people are overestimating or underestimating their assumptions.
Exactly, exactly. And steering that back, kind of a feedback loop.
This is really cool. I like it a lot. Only question is, what do you think about the SME market that's sort of going through a secular trend towards like cloud accounting software and Xero's integrating with some of those account receivables financing options? Are you guys looking at that market? Is that next? What are your thoughts there? That's
a good question. So for the moment, we're targeted really towards the larger and mid-sized companies. We've been working a lot of times with them. But now we're also we're validating if we have also a space within the SME market. We know that companies like Xero, the smaller ERP software, they're kind of getting in that space. But for example, if you look to QuickBooks, if you look to really cash flow forecasting, not a lot of, let's say, bolt-ons are really there. So there we're kind of looking. We think that it might work for some. I think the potential is awesome, But finding the right business model, that will be, I think, key, because you need to be reaching out to a lot of companies in order to reach the same kind of margin that we now generate with our current market. So actually, to be fair with you, we are also looking at integrating with those receivables financing solutions around the globe and build a business model that's more oriented towards those extra services around that. But that's kind of it's an idea. So everyone can comment on that, or any feedback is welcome. So.
Quick question. There are other cash flow solutions out there coming from banks, other financial service providers. Where do you think you differentiate against those competitors, and why Cashforce when they have those alternatives?
Right. In the mid-sized company segment specifically, you have most of them are kind of treasury systems or cash management systems, and they're really focused on having like your current balance of today. What are on the different bank accounts? Most of them are not targeted towards cash flow forecasting, like forecasting with a high level of detail what's going to happen in the future. And a second part to that is simulation. So you can build a cash forecast, but that's kind of your best guess. But then you need to take it one step further. What would happen if I now pay all my vendor discounts? What would happen if I actually offer discounts to my customers? What would happen if some of my customers, they go bankrupt, and so on? So you kind of make your simulation towards the future more accurate. And that's where we're really specialized in. Because for a CFO, that makes most sense, right? Making sure he kind of can see in the future 30, 60, 90 days further than just now.
Thanks. Yeah, you started to touch on what I was going to ask about. So you just said 30, 60, 90. So are you trying to really balance kind of recognized versus realized, or are you trying to blend in the budgeting element of a company?
It's a good question. So
because that's where I'm thinking about this. You're going to sell this, right? What expense item that what system they're paying for are you trying to displace? Are you trying to get them to spend more money incrementally?
So in cash forecasting, what we typically do is we divide like in short-term, mid-term, and long-term forecasting. And what we target ourselves towards is the short-term and mid-term forecasting.
Recognized. Generally, receivables.
General receivables or orders on the books, everything that's kind of almost known, right?
Yeah.
But what we do then is to make sure we fill those gaps between short-term, mid-term, and mid-term to long-term. We add to that those budgets that have been made, the rolling budget that you make inside a company. Right. And of course, the longer you get in the future, the less accurate it will be anyway, right? So, but we know there are a couple of like rolling budgeting tools out there. We don't try to outperform them. We really try to focus where we are best at. That's the short-term and mid-term part.
All right, great. Thank you so much.